good morning to our listeners, those of you via Classic Radio. Good morning and welcome. Whether you're listening 105.5 or 105.9, good morning and welcome to another edition of the Mid-Morning Buzz. Those of you via GBN TV, whether you're viewing channels 7, 11 or channels 20. What about our social media platforms, the Facebook page, GBN, of course, GBN's Facebook page or our YouTube channels. Good morning and welcome. And with me this morning, of course, we have an interesting conversation lineup with you. I have a guest with me this morning. That's Mr. Victor Clark. And, of course, he represents, of course, the UK High Commission. I hope I'm right about my description of you, sir.
Correct. Yes.
Good morning. Let's just get into the conversation. How are you this morning?
Very good, thank you, GT. It's great to be here, and looking forward to sharing information about the Chevening Scholarship for your listeners.
All right. Last year I had, of course, Wendy in. Last year we spoke about it at length, and she gave a lot of information and was very encouraging in terms she said in terms of how Grenadians who was awarded a scholarship and so forth. And we even had of course one of the alumni popping also and shared their experience over the years. And it was very fruitful to hear how the benefit that's also incurred from being part of it. So it's 2024-2025 season kicks in now.
Correct.
Yes, and the application actually it starts today.
It starts today.
So it's all about the shivering, of course. Tell us about it. Just for the scholarship. Tell us about the scholarship from your point of view.
So it's the single UK government kind of central funded scholarship scheme that we, the British government, kind of run globally. Up to 160 countries qualify to apply for these scholarships, and the scholarships are aimed towards students who are in the kind of mid-career, I guess, kind of stage of their development. So people who have already undertaken undergraduate studies, they've had a minimum of 2 years work experience, ideally kind of linked to what they hope to do for the 1-year masters under the scholarship program. But really what the scholarship scheme is kind of focused towards is identifying talent, identifying the potential future leaders of each country within various sectors. So we're not just talking political leaders in terms of the Prime Minister or ministers, but in all the various sectors. So be it health, be it education, be it the development, be it economics, even within business or law, the people who can have the potential to really change in a positive direction the trajectory of Grenada and the prosperity of the country. Those are the people that we are kind of really aimed towards, and what we want is to help them along that journey. So we have individuals who have a clear ambition, clear goal, and they have that capability to fulfill those dreams. We want to kind of help them do that and be part of that process, and take advantage of the huge resource we have in the UK. We have some of the best universities in the world, thankfully in the UK, and using that to help the students right across the globe is a fundamental kind of pillar of our development and kind of cooperation assistance globally.
Okay. Tell me, how does someone, the whole process, the application, how someone gets that particular scholarship? How does it start?
So first off, it's always good to do your research. So the Chevening have their own websites. So it's spelled EVENING .org is the official website, and there you can find all the information that you kind of really need about the scholarship program. It is fully funded. And the reason we have it fully funded is so that it is open to everybody, regardless of their kind of particular personal or economic circumstances. So it includes full costs of the tuition of the course, full costs of flights, accommodation, living expenses. Nobody should have to kind of pay anything towards that year of study, and in addition, the way we formulated it is really kind of the onus is on the applicant. So the applicant has to do the research, understand which university they want to study, because it can be at any UK university,
and what they want to study,
and what course they want to study, because it can be any course. And within the application, it's up to the applicant to explain, why they've chosen this particular course, why they've chosen this particular university.
How important is that?
Incredibly, I think it's really important. If you're aiming to be successful in your application, you have to convey through that application, what your vision is, what your goals and ambitions are, and how this particular opportunity and experience to do the master's course in the UK fits into that career path and that career vision. And really, you have to kind of identify, have in the back of your mind, how is this going to benefit Grenada?
Yes.
Because the whole reason the UK fund this is because we want to help Grenada develop. It's not about helping people have better careers so that they can earn more money and for their personal benefit.
So is that one of the conditions with the scholarship?
Yes. So it's one of the primary conditions that the aim and the objective is for the individual to come back to Grenada after their studies and use that experience, the skills, the network that they've kind of developed through that experience to really help advance and benefit Grenada.
All right. Tell us, you ended with the benefits that derives from that particular scholarship. Tell us about that.
So it cannot be all-encompassing. So we are obviously acutely aware of the priorities of each individual country. We're in regular kind of political and development dialogue with the government of Grenada over the priorities here. Naturally, a lot of the kind of areas that we agree would be good for Grenada are the same priorities as the government has. I've mentioned a few of them already in terms of either on the economics, the healthcare, education, social development, even energy, renewable energy. There's a huge opportunity there moving forward for Grenada. There's a number of opportunities, I think, for the advancement and development and benefits that can be brought back here to Grenada, and I think we've seen that already in the past. Grenada has a alumni network of previous Chevening scholars that number some, I think, 40 to 50, and they regularly meet and kind of cooperate amongst each other to act as a network to further kind of look for opportunities for advancements and help each other along their own kind of career paths.
All right. Tell me, the Chevening Scholarship, I mean, it's not open to Grenada only. How from the road? How grand is this Chevening Scholarship?
So we're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year of the Chevening Scholarship, coinciding with Grenada's 50th. And it operates, as I said, in 160 countries in total. But that's then kind of split up regionally. Here in this region, the scholarships, so we normally get a set amount of scholarships for the Eastern Caribbean region, so Barbados, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis and Dominica. And in that grouping, there is fierce competition between the applicants of the islands for the limited amount of scholarship spaces that there are. Coincidentally, this year we've been incredibly successful here in Grenada, I think. We have 4 Chevening scholars that will be heading off to the UK to study master's courses this month, next month, who applied last year. And that's no other Eastern Caribbean island trumps Grenada in that respect for this year. And I'm hoping to keep it up for next year.
All right. Now tell me, what are some of the courses that you see in demand mostly? If you have knowledge of that or know the information to share with us, what are some of the courses that you find mostly in demand for the scholarship?
So it varies from year to year. I think the whole basis of the selection process is a meritocracy. So it's very much based on a combination of the areas of study, but also probably even more so the applicant. So there's a lot of focus on the individual attributes of the applicant and the potential of the applicant, because as you know, you can fund people to study in a particular area that you want to fund, but if they're not the people who are really the movers and shakers and the people who are really going to be able to kind of drive that,
they have to drive themselves
change.
to want to do that in particular.
So they need to drive their own kind of educational experience, but also drive the benefits that they're going to bring to Grenada after they come back. And there's a lot of focus on the individual. Yes, the kind of area of study is important. There's in recent years, successful applicants have studied in areas of law, development economics. There's been kind of even creativity and innovation. Lots of kind of focus. Also on kind of tribunals and kind of employment law. There's a whole kind of scope and area. Even healthcare, there has been in the past. I think me personally, I'd love to kind of see more applicants kind of in the healthcare space, more applicants.
Seems that the law seems to be one of the dominating.
It has in the past. I'd prefer it to be a kind of a bit more broader, because I think there's a lot of kind of scope. I mentioned earlier, the future with regard to renewable energy.
Yes.
There's a huge opportunity, I think, there over the next sort of decade or so for Grenada to become fully self-sufficient, and drive down energy costs and make productivity so much greater here in Grenada. So there's a huge area there, be it electrical engineering or outside of that, project management. That there's a whole opportunity, I think, where there's capable. Amazing Grenadians that I meet on a daily basis that could kind of fill those shoes, and that we'd certainly encourage to apply.
All right. Now, I'm sure there's individuals who are listening to us right now and viewing us and viewing this conversation we're having right now, and the interest grabbed their mind. We understand you as you mentioned, you probably have done some tertiary educational factors already that bring this. How does the process of go through? How long does it really take for the application to go through?
So the application process starts today, opens today online, and ends on 7th of November. We usually encourage people not to wait until the 7th of November or the day before. That's why we have a kind of 2-month period for applications. It's quite an extensive process. So the initial stage is online. There's a series of essays so 4 essays that each individual would have to kind of complete, and those essays would focus on what their career ambitions are, what value they think this particular kind of area of study could bring to Grenada, their own experiences, their own kind of background, and given a kind of fuller kind of picture. I fundamentally believe that the process is valuable, even as a process of just self-reflection. I hear from a lot of candidates who have applied and not necessarily been successful, but they found it a useful process nonetheless to take a step back, do a bit of self-reflection about their own careers, what their ambitions are, what they need to kind of realize those ambitions, and take the next step. And even if they weren't successful, they still have used the process as a positive way to kind of progress and think about their career. After the initial kind of online application process, there is a later interview process. So those online applications are sifted. There's a later interview process, which is normally around the kind of springtime, March, April time of next year. And then successful applicants after the interview stage are then normally informed around about July, August, and looking to start their courses then in September, October of the following year.
Tell us about some of these success stories that you may have heard of.
Oh wow! I mean, there's so many to choose from. I mean, one fantastic one I think here in Grenada is the president of our Chevening Alumni Network here.
Yes.
Kina Marast, who's a leading magistrate here in Grenada. And I was speaking to her the other day, and every time I speak to her, I'm inspired by the drive that she has, the changes that she's looking to kind of implement here in Grenada. She's also managed to kind of create an incredible international network. So it's not just the Grenada network, but globally there's 50,000 Chevening alumni. There's formal platforms and networking tools to enable the kind of communication. And even during your year in the UK, I'm constantly receive feedback that sometimes the networking opportunities. So there's events that the Chevening network organised for all of the alumni that are there for that particular year, and often I hear that those opportunities to network and build working relationships with others from other countries can be just as valuable as the actual master's education opportunity itself, because it's you learn from others, and you learn from kind of hearing about different experiences and different ways of doing things around the world. In addition to the cultural experience in the UK, the perhaps shock of the climate, which is a bit different from here in Grenada as well.
And I'm sure you would be happy you were keeping out of that cold when it comes to the winter season come around. You'd love to be in Grenada.
Yes, I have many family members who are jealous of my living arrangements around winter time.
So tell me, you spoke of it earlier. 40 years, what continues to keep the Shivering Scholarships going for 40 years now? 40th anniversary will be. Is it this year or next year?
So this year.
This year will be 40 years. 40 years. Was anything special happening for this 40th anniversary?
So I know they're going to be arranging various special events in the UK.
Yes.
For the Chevenings who are just going out this particular year. Certainly we are looking to continue the Chevening Scholarship Programme. I mean, the success kind of speaks for itself, and 50,000 students over 40 years, that's over 1,000 a year. We've only ever seen positive results come out of each and every individual student.
So why would you stop something that you're getting positive results of?
Precisely. I mean, 50,000 students, I have no idea how much that would have cost the UK government over those years, but if you take an average, just to make the maths easy, £20,000 per student, it's a lot more. It costs a lot more now, but over the years, probably an average 20,000. You're still talking 50,000 times 20,000. That's what, £1 billion. And there's no regrets. And the UK government's putting even more money on an annual basis into this program.
So, as you said, it kicks off from today, goes up until November. The encouragement is for folks you encourage folks to go on out, get the applications in. Hopefully, they become successful and they're accepted, and the process just goes on from there. So
start early. The application process opens today, but just go online, do your research. All of the information is there, but if you need further information, you can reach out. There's social media platforms as well. So Chevening FCDO, so Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, both on Facebook, Twitter, I think it's called X now, Instagram, and there's also a Facebook profile for the local Chevening Alumni Network, so Chevening Grenada as well, where you can kind of reach out to the local network and ask questions. There's always people willing to help. And the Chevening Secretariat is very good at kind of engaging with potential applicants, and even applicants once they're successful as well. It's a whole process, so that the successful applicants who are assigned a chief in officer who then help them assimilate to moving country, which is a difficult initiative in itself.
Getting them all settled and everything.
Helping them get settled, helping them kind of find their feet and network in the UK when they arrive. There's a whole kind of machinery behind to kind of support the successful applicants and also those potential applicants who are looking to apply.
All right. Victor, I want to thank you for being here with us this morning. Pleasure for speaking to you, and of course, hope that, of course, success of the Children Scholarship continues over the years, and the successful candidates. Certainly, I wish them all the best also.
I'm positive that's the case. I meet so many amazing Grenadians on a daily basis that I'm very confident that we're going to find very good candidates again for next year.
Thanks once again for being on the Mid-Morning Buzz, and all the best to you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Hey, folks, that's how we take a wrap for the Mid-Morning Buzz today here on GBN TV and, of course, Classic Radio. Until then, have a good one, folks. That's what we say goodbye.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
It is important to know what your road signs and markings means. The zigzag lines means you should not park in the marked area. Parking is allowed inside the solid white lines on the edge of the road. Remember, look out for pedestrians. Pedestrians, be sure the vehicle comes to a complete stop before crossing. These tips can save your life. These tips can make our roads safer for all users. Be safe, be seen, be smart. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
Some girls need to get the ice check.
I can hear you, You just judged that all the girls checking him out and that gorgeous me ain't checking her for you.
Seriously though, Sasha gotta watch how she pushing out herself with some of those boys, cause you don't know when they're taking out one walk for a free kick, if you know what I mean.
Stop. Why you touch me like that?
Isn't that what all girls want? I touch you, you touch me. You feel me?
So many things were so not right about that. Let's talk about this. What's wrong with this picture? Could Corey's actions be considered as sexual abuse or molestation? Guys, you gotta realize that sexual abuse can take many forms. What is child sexual abuse? If an older or more knowledgeable child or adult stranger, sibling, parent or caretaker in position of authority, like a coach or teacher, asks to see or touch your private parts, forces you to see or touch theirs, forces you to have sex with them or others, or deliberately lets you hear or look at sexual acts live or as porn on a TV, computer, mobile phone, or in a book or magazine, you are being sexually abused. If this ever happens to you, say no. Get away from the person you think is abusing you and tell someone whom you trust. It could be your coach, PE teacher, guidance counselor, school principal, or your parent or guardian at home.
Welcome back once again, listeners and viewers. This is, of course, the Mid-Morning Buzz here on Classic Radio and the GBN TV. With me this morning, I think, do we need an introduction? I'm not sure. Let me say good morning to Mr. Robert Whyte. How are you this morning, sir?
Morning, sir. Well, I am good.
Well, you could call me GT. This so makes me feel a little bit, I can give it.
GT. Yeah. I am very good. Yeah. I'm very good. I'm excited.
It's not always I see you in that calm nature, though. Not always a...
Boy, I tell you something. I was going on the road one time, and in response to that observation, I was going on the road one time, and somebody met me around Young Street. I can't remember if it was man or woman, but met me at the Young Street. Said, "Whyte, give me a joke." And I looked at him kind of like between shock and because here am I in my other life, my day-to-day job going on.
Out of your regular zone.
Yeah, and somebody want a joke, so see, man, Whyte, how you looking serious, so man, that's not the Whyte I expect. I say there are a lot of different sides to me. So I mean, there's a time when you're on stage, and while I like the stage and I thrive on stage, but you can't go around in one persona every day because that's not going to cut it.
So you're here this morning and you're representing Heritage Theatre Company of Grenada, and you're talking about Fire to Dance. Tell us about this particular play that is coming up.
This is our most recent production, as you just indicated, with the opening at the Trade Center on the 16th and 17th, that this weekend. And the Fire to Dance is a story essentially about a young lady who had this passion for dancing.
Yes.
And would certainly like to do this and intended to go overseas and study, but her father had a different idea. You know, as most parents in Grenada, they would want to, of course, direct their child/children in areas that they see.
You gotta be a doctor, you know. You gotta be a lawyer.
Yes, historically, you had to. As I heard Paul King Douglas say one time, your profession had to end in So you had to be a doctor or a lawyer. So you see, that's why he became a storyteller. You know, he had to end in So Daddy had other ideas, and so there's this battle between herself and her father for what should her future, what she should do, you know, with respect to her future profession and so. But inside of there's also another mix, because she had a boyfriend.
Okay.
You know, a passionate little love affair that started when she was going to school. And that too was something that she expected to mushroom into. You know, once you have somebody at that age, you see wife and husband and children. And there's an unexpected twist to it that I wouldn't want to go into now. I don't want people to see.
You have to come out to get that. If you want to get the twist, you got to come to see the get
exactly, exactly. But the story is essentially, the story is one that a lot of Grenadians will be able to relate to.
Yeah.
And a lot of persons will see themselves reflected on stage, and some of the struggles that they may have gone through in their own life with respect to how do I manage family expectations of spousal partners, and my own desire, what I'd like to do. How do I manage the whole mix? And that is essentially what the story is about. And of course, it's resolved in some ways, you know, to the end of the production.
Tell us about the key features of this production.
It is different from what we have done. For example, our last production was very visual.
Yes.
You know, there was all this.
That was the Fedon.
Yes, that's Julian Feder. We went back into the 1700s, so the dress reflected that, the whole decor reflected that, the language in some ways reflected that period. This one is different. It's contemporary, right? But the style is different. So there is a narrator,
yes,
which is, I think, 30-something years, the first time we've done a full-length production around a narrator. And as the narrator narrates, narrator at times is into the story, other times looking at the story. So, you know, so there are different levels. So from a technical side, it's very interesting. It is different from a technical side. And I think Grenadians will really appreciate that, because it's something new. Well, not new.
But it's not the typical play that you will always come out to see happening. You could see that.
It is in terms of story, it is in terms of acting and so, but it's just that the format is a little different.
Different this time around.
Yes, yes.
Right.
And it's a difference that will make a difference.
Well, let's see the difference. So it's coming up for you on Saturday the 16th, 17th, 20th, and of course it takes place at the Grenada Trade Center. 7 p.m. starts.
Yes.
You know, how does one get in? You know, maybe I should ask you this on a personal level. How does one gets into character of doing these plays, man? How? Is it a personal passion? I've always been interested in terms of how I see people do this. Like you here now in your calm, settled way we're talking. But then when you get on stage, it seems to be a transformation for some reason or the other. Not everybody can bring it all the time. if you know where I'm going with my what I'm saying. But how does it get that transformation to come across?
It is easy, and it is not easy. I'll tell you what I mean by that. It requires an in-depth understanding of who your character is. So, and to do that, and to bring that character to life, you as a person must die. Of course, not literally, but die figuratively, in that if every time I'm on stage, they see Robert, then after a time, you kind of lose interest, your ability to carry the story. And so, let me give a classic example. The first time I saw Jim Carrey on stage as the Mask.
Yeah.
In that story, I was bowled over.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, this guy is good. The facial expressions, the voice and everything like that. He mastered that character.
Then you see him as
and
liar.
Then I see him
as liar.
in other roles, and I'm still seeing the Mask. So to me, in the other roles, and of course this is subjective, you know.
You find you were still seeing the same.
In the other roles, I was still seeing him as a Mask,
as a Mask.
And that to me spoke to a weakness in his characterization.
All right.
So what do? You need to understand your character, and every character is different. So you need to know, as I say, you must have an in-depth knowledge of the character. What's his age? Right? Some things you may actually be guided by the script. So you could see, okay, it's a 20-year-old male, who has a secondary school education, who is a doctor, or who is a fisherman, or so. So you get those direct guides. But sometimes the script still doesn't tell you everything, because what's the backstory? Is he somebody who had a traumatic experience as a child? So every time something similar happens now, it ticks him off.
And he's able to bring it out.
Is he afraid of loud noises? So if so, anytime somebody shouts, how does he respond? All those things help to differentiate your character once you understand them well. Sometimes I look to persons who I know, actually living persons, and try to portray them. I mean, one time, maybe it wasn't hard, I probably cheated that, but I remember one time, the character resembled my father so much, I say, that is who I'm going to be on stage. And everybody came up to me, well, you look at your father so much in this. The reason why I say I cheated, of course, there's the physical, but there are other nuances in terms of the way he spoke and the way he walked and all of that.
You will love your own personal persona about yourself.
Well, but
then when you bring some other character, it always changes the whole sense about you.
That's correct. So there's that understanding of a character, and then there's the preparation. Because as much as you understand who am I, then how do you portray them? Do you have a particular walk? And like I mentioned, my father had to walk like him, right? I one time had to walk as my grandfather. I portrayed my grandfather on stage one time. Not everybody may know my grandfather, so they didn't really see that one. But every time I was on stage, I saw him before I went on. So I had to maintain the walk, and there's a certain persona that he carried that I was now reproducing on stage. Those things are important, and they help to make the character believable.
Yes.
Because, bro, if you are playing the President of the United States, you better believe that you are the President of the United States. Because if you don't believe, then the audience, you can't convince the audience.
Exactly.
But once you believe, then you come with the authority as the President normally carries. You walk as upright as probably they normally do. Even if the President has a swag.
Yeah, you make the stutter too.
And that sort of thing.
That's great. That's good to know that. I mean, so tell us, what should folks really expect when they come to see the show on Saturday?
Expect a typical heritage theatre production. Typical in the sense that we give it our best. We try to, as much as possible, adhere to the rudiments of theatre and so on, and follow. Present a story rather that persons can follow.
Are we going to see new characters popping in this time around?
Yes, and I was just about to come to that. So there is the face of heritage in the last maybe 5 years is changing. I'm sure that's a good thing. Some of the regular faces that you have grown to know, right? You'll see new additions. So from the last production, we had some new faces. Now we have some younger persons, right, who are still being added to the cast. So you'll see, because I was saying to one of your staff outside that I remember in my early days when I started, I wanted to have a gray beard and gray hair for when I'm playing an older citizen. I didn't like the whole issue of painting up with shoe polish and all of that.
No, you don't have that problem.
No, I don't have that problem now, because I bid my time. Right? But in the same way, I would not be as you would not be as convinced if I'm playing a school child and I come with gray hair to play like a teenager. So clearly,
the realistic thing about it would not present itself.
No. So we clearly need to have new additions, and we've been working on that. So we have some new faces. Darlow, for example, a guy who plays the character Darlow is a young guy going to GBS National College, I think it was, yeah. No, not National College. The other college. Presentation
Brothers College, yes.
And of course he's young and he's this is a new addition to the cast. So you see those things. My character, please I want to talk a little about my character, is actually a guy named Frederick Clark. Yeah. And Frederick Clark is somebody who grew up tough. From his lineage, never really had it easy. Frederick's grandfather came from the African Gold Coast in chains, was brought here, and it's an exact line from the play. Came from the African Gold Coast in chains. Okay. And he worked hard, and eventually gained his freedom, but he died, penniless. but he always he understood the value of education and gave his son an opportunity. That's his son was my father. He gave him an opportunity, to be educated. So Frederick had this passion about education. Our family we must excel. We must elevate ourselves through education. And so that was instilled in me through the efforts of my father. And now I want to instill that in my daughters.
And then she wants to dance.
She wants to dance. You know what I mean? And she wants to dance. Dance is not a profession. Dancing is something you do. Right? Another line from the play. Right? So it's that sort of thing. That's my character. And it was easy to play, because again, my age and my kind of persona, I went well into the character. But I feel extremely happy about playing that character on stage.
All right. I want to say it sounds to be a very interesting play, and I certainly hope folks will come out and enjoy it. And anyway, if you keep telling me she wants to see it, so she has never been to one. I have been to multiple, but she has never been. Somehow viewing it a couple of days on television, the commercial part of it, and she say, "Hey, we got to go see that,"
Yes, you certainly should.
Yeah,
you certainly should.
Robert, I want to thank you a whole lot. Any closing comment you want to say before we take a wrap for today?
Yes, I want to just remind persons where the ticket outlets are. We have down in Grandance, we have Mitchell Pharmacies. We also have the Trade Center. The Trade Center.
You can get tickets there also.
Because people
at the night of the show, tickets are available also, right?
Huh?
At the night of the show,
tickets will be available at the night of the show, and we will not increase the price. Same price at the night of the show.
All right.
But the tickets are going, especially the last week. They already start going. I guess the typical Grenadian scenario, as we get closer to the show, the tickets are going. So I would
like the last minute kind of thing. Is that?
Yes. The tickets are.
That's a good name for a show too.
The tickets are $50, and you could also get them from members of Heritage Theatre. We have some around the countryside. So we have the St. David's Pharmacy. We also have tickets at Gittins outlets in Grenville, in Guelph, and St. George.
All right.
Then we have Calico in Grenville, Calico in Guelph, Calico in Sotes.
Okay.
Then we have tickets at the Spot in Sotes as well. So there are tickets available. Ticket outlets which are close to you that you can actually purchase a ticket.
And I'm assuming, yes, it starts at the Trade Center, but I'm assuming in time to come, once this will move around the island.
We'd like to. One of the challenges we have with respect to taking shows around the island now, the shows have become very expensive in terms of the production and all of that. And what we've found, our most recent experience, is that when you go to the countrysides, you do not get the kind of crowds that would make it. And I don't even want to say profitable, although this is the theater is still not a business, but at least you don't want to go around the country and just lose money. So it has been one of our challenges, but we I could say to you, we have been looking recently at doing something in the cinema in Grenville. Certainly had to be more than one night, so probably a weekend. We can't give any commitment with respect to dates as now, but it's a discussion that we're having at the executive level.
I know I said we was going to take a wrap, How is theatre developing in Grenada? Have we seen a slow movement of it now comparing to 15, 20 years ago? And now, I know back in the day that it used to be a regular thing, me going to the Marshall House area. I used to attend loads of that taking place there. I've seen a bit of a slowdown in it. What's the reason for that, would you say?
And you're correct. We don't have as much theatre as we had in those days. The glory days were the days of the 90s.
Yes.
The 90s. In those days, I remember Heritage Theatre is about 3 productions a year. Minimum 2, but sometimes 3. At that time, you also had family theatre, was very active, and there was even a little competition, jostling between the 2 theatre companies, and as a result, the audience benefited because there was always
something to go for. And the production was very interesting as well.
Very interesting. Of course, the two companies have done well over the years in terms of their ability to offer a really, really good productions to market. But we don't have that now. I mean, Heritage has been consistent. We have offered at least 1 production in the last 10 years.
Yes.
1 production a year. Right? And I mean, that's on-stage production. We've been involved in other things, to training and other things like that.
Okay.
But in terms of the production, on-stage production, at least one, which is again still good, considering that life sometimes gets in the way. So a lot of the people who are involved, they got married in the early stage of the 90s. I'm speaking about. People got married, people had children, so now they had to stay home because my daughter preparing for CPE, and mommy had to help. But
other work commitments and
work commitment. People moved up in their jobs. Some got into management, and so they don't have the time and that's why I made the point earlier on that new blood. We had to introduce new blood. We probably learned that lesson a little too late, but we've learned it.
Yes.
Right. But the reality is, the theater scene is not as active as it used to be, and there's a lot of competition now for people's attention.
That's so true.
So in the days when we had that space, there was not much happening, and people wanted things to do, places to go.
Folks
so the theater
were
was
thinking,
natural.
I ain't going to stay home and watch TV. I will go, you understand? We know folks may decide to do that.
Right.
The clubs, there were less clubs available, so folks would say, well, let me go to a club now instead of go watch that. But before, the limited clubs and so forth, the limited activities that were taking place, you would prefer to go to those events.
It allowed people the space to come to theater. But now there's a lot of promoters out, there's all kind of shows, there's the calypso shows, the reggae shows, there's so much happening now. And remember, Grenada is a small market, not just small in terms of people, but small in terms of economy and economic ability to afford.
And there's so much people that would want to of course, and everyone can spend to go to the same event. You understand?
Right. So social media too has impacted on this. And there's so much you could do on social media, and so much is happening on social media that has grabbed the attention of the younger demographics. So these people have naturally gravitated to the theater as we might have in the 90s when we were their kind of age.
Yep.
Because we didn't have all these other options. We
didn't have that distraction, as I like to call it.
Now, in addition to all this, there hasn't been any major development on the technical side. I want to say technical in terms of accommodation and all of that. The trade center we won't turn our back on. The trade center is not 100% adequate, but we have a great relationship with Mr. Bido.
Okay.
And to his credit, he has allowed us that space to really grow and develop because he's committed to it. Now, I guess if Ricky had the money, he probably might have put on a major performing arts venue. But it's the best we have, and we've worked with him, and he has worked with us. Right. But we still need to have that venue where the technical side merges with the human resource and that kind of ability, and at the end of the day, when there's a marriage between these two, it
would diminish the cost also.
But that's correct. But as we have seen when we traveled to venues like Cuba, where we got a stage, when we went to Aruba, where the stage was out of this world, when we went to perform, even in Brooklyn College in New York, which is a college theater space, but it is way better than anything we have here. And the production just takes a different level. And I say so regrettably that Grenada has yet to see the best of heritage theater.
All right.
Because what persons in the diaspora got by virtue of the fact that they have better accommodation, better venue, better song and all of that, what they got was better than anything else we have been able to deliver in Grenada. Unfortunately, but so.
Well, we hope that could change.
Well, let's hope. We've been hoping a long time. Successive regimes, governments have made commitments. They see the value, I think, but they have yet to actually put money where the mouth is.
All right. Well, I want to thank you once again, and all the best. Again, news coming up next. So,
yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and all the best for the event coming up. Take it easy, my brother. All the best. All right. Hey, folks, that's what we take a wrap for the Mid-Morning Buzz here on, of course, Classic Radio and GBN TV. Until then, have a good one, folks. That's where we say goodbye.